So yeah, we're talking about, well, technically your thing says diet, ADHD, and other stuff. But
Right.
diet, you mean, well, I guess let's get into it. Like, what do you mean by diet exactly?
I think what really interested me when I read your story about the gluten-free and the sensitivities, I had the same thing happen. I was 11 though, and I had been diagnosed with ADHD, and at the same time, I was overweight, so the doctor said, maybe give it a shot, do an elimination diet, and see if that improves your other symptoms with ADHD. And I lost 30 pounds in 6 months because I was pretty overweight, but I was eating all the foods that I liked, which were cheese and bread and stuff that didn't make me feel good, but I liked. So,
Wow.
I went through the similar thing, and of course, I would binge on stuff for the result, endless next few decades, like, every couple months, I would do something and throw myself off and have to get back on. So, it's tough because it's always the stuff you love the most that you can't have.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you just like nailed it with that right there. So yeah, as like I'll just have a little bit of background on me if people haven't read my last piece, was about how I struggled with migraines in my 20s and I figured it out through food. And um basically, like my neurologist said, like food's not the answer. And I disagreed. So
Mhm.
that like put me on a whole journey. I was never diagnosed, gosh, I was never diagnosed with like anything other than depression just over and over again. And it's like, but like there's more here. Like there's much more going on here.
Mhm.
I like never officially got diagnosed with anxiety until like some like really traumatic stuff happened to me.
Mm.
And I don't even think it was like an official diagnosis. It was like, "Oh, you're having like panic attacks and anxiety, so here's a pill." And like that was like the end of it. So, yeah, it's just been a lot. And like I went to culinary school. I graduated valedictorian pastry chef and years later developed horrible migraines that turned out to be related to wheat. And like I said, like I found out on my own. No one told me to do an elimination diet. Except for like my mom who happened to get a food allergy test done for herself.
Mhm.
And like I'm just wondering like why my doctors never did any of this, but that's like a whole other subject.
It goes right to pharmaceuticals, and that's something my mom has dealt with as well, and for me, to a lesser extent, I mean, the doctor did say, "If you want medication, you could take it," but my mom was in school for psychology at the time, and all her colleagues and friends and, her teachers who were all had degrees in this said, "Why don't you try lifestyle interventions first?" And she was researching elimination diet, which was still fairly it wasn't super new, but it wasn't something that doctors jump to. Like, I feel like the medical profession is maybe 20 years behind at all times. Like, because they get out of school and then they start practicing, and a lot of the time, they don't have a lot of training in certain things like nutrition and neurodivergence, and so they don't have the framework. So, like, I tend to think the pharmaceutical is just that's their tools that they're taught with and they think that's the answer. And for me, I have sensitivities to various stuff. I can't do any medications. My mom's the same way. She's even worse. And, it's something I've had to deal with. So I think what you hit on really well was you have to trust what you know and what your body responds to. And sometimes, you know, not totally disregarding what doctors say, because that's not a good thing, but taking your own inner knowledge into it.
Yeah, and that can be hard. Like I wasn't taught to advocate for myself in like any system, right? Like
Mhm.
um yeah, I feel like I should preface it with like some things. Like religion was like a big part of growing up for me, and we were taught not to question things. So like
Mhm.
of course like in the doctor's office I'm not going to question things. And my natural inclination is to question everything. So I don't really fit in groups very well. Like organized groups very well because I'm just like why is it like this? why are we doing it like this? This doesn't feel good. Why? Like, why? Why? And yeah, people don't like being questioned, I've learned. So
Especially positions of authority. Like, a lot of the doctors take the attitude of, "I'm the doctor, you're the patient, you do what I say." And my mom was just told to go on Jardians for her diabetes, and she said, "Well, I'm trying and have been controlling it through diet." And the doctor basically said, "Well, not enough, obviously. We wanna do even more." And her levels are pretty good, like, she's a little overweight, but you it's also from thyroid issues, so but people look at her and they automatically assume she doesn't know what she's talking about, she hasn't done the dietary work. I mean, she was the one who told me, "I think you have a food allergy." So, like you what happened with you. So I think that, it's just the default is they assume they know more, and they do, but they also aren't in your body, and they can't tell what's going on necessarily.
yeah, are like I'm really sensitive too to like pharmaceuticals and I mean like everything, but especially pharmaceuticals. And you said like Jardians, and like we were just watching a commercial, and that happened to be on, and like the side effects are horrendous. Like, and
Yeah,
it's interesting. Like the commercial will tell you that it won't tell you all of it. It actually says something like these aren't all the side effects, but they list quite a bit, and they sound worse than having diabetes. Like it's horrible. Like
yeah,
all this
they
like
have
bleeding and stuff, and I'm like, that's not
they have
great.
a
And like
nice song and dance though, like, the song and
the
dance
they
numbers are
do
the
right. It's
best. Like,
catchy.
whoever does these commercials should get an Emmy or something because 'cause they're just wonderful. But, you know, I'm not totally against, obviously, interventions like that if you really need it, but a lot of it, in my opinion, you could start the process with lifestyle and see what you could do on your own. And that's what my mom's been doing for years. Like, she essentially pushed her diabetes back a little bit, and I've successfully, knock on wood, kept myself from getting into prediabetes, even though every woman in my family has had it. So, you know, there's a lot to be said for diet and exercise and sleep and all the foundational stuff.
Yeah, I love that you said, like, sleep and exercise, like, it's not just diet. And I've even gone to, like, a naturopath, and he said, there's, like, these pillars of healing, and spirituality is also one of them, and I think that one gets overlooked the most when it comes to healing. Or, like, I mean, it's weird, like, we never really take a balanced approach to, like, anything, and it's like, there is that, like, emotional component, a mental component, a physical component, a spiritual component to healing. And, like, you probably should include all of them.
Yeah, well, that's it, and as I get older, I realize more and more that it's not just what you eat, it's not how you move, but it's also how you feel in the world and in your body, and having something, whether it's community or something that you believe in. Like, I'm sort of an atheist, I don't really believe in much anymore, I grew up Catholic, so I, for years, like, didn't believe in anything, and I did spirituality type exploration when I was in my teens, and then by my 20s, I kinda got annoyed with it, so I stopped, and now as an adult, like, reintegrating some things, some practices that make me feel better, the tarot card thing I was telling you about, it's all stuff that can contribute, and it helps your mind, and your mind helps your body.
Yeah, and, like, you touched on something that I recently was telling a coach that I'm not feeling safe in my body, and she was like, "Well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Your body's, like, holding on all the weight as a way to stay safe and,
Mhm.
like, kinda, like, protect yourself." So, yeah, you're right. It's a really layered thing. It's not just like, well, restrict your calories and exercise. Like, it's a little so much more than that.
It is, yeah, and it's systemic, and a lot of what we do in this country especially is treating various things as they crop up, but not the cause, and, my I have a shaman friend who said the same thing. He said, "Fat is fear," and whenever you gain the weight, like, and of course, there's complex biological stuff too, but, um, basically, it's your body saying, "I wanna be safe, and I wanna create layers between me and the world." And that, like, makes total sense to me. I mean, at the times when I've gained the most weight, it's been to try to cope with something, and it's unfortunate because I'm an athlete, and that goes against my identity, gaining even 5, 10 pounds. I feel like, "Oh my god, I'm a wash up. I'm never gonna get back to where I was." But, you gotta honor yourself too and find ways to heal yourself before you start pushing to change things, I think.
Yeah, and I love your approach. Like, you're an athlete, you're figure skater, speed skater, um and like you approach it in a way that I don't think that I've ever seen anyone honestly do, of like, hey, like this is me and this is actually where I'm at, and it's not where I want to be, but I'm not going to beat myself up for it.
And it's hard because, like, most of the time, it's me instructing myself, "Don't beat yourself up over it." Like, most days, I have a friend who was also an elite competitor, and, when you're in that mindset, your body is a huge part of who you are. Like, humans, we all think our body is a huge part of us, but when you're a competitor, it's even more because that's how you express yourself, that's how you create or, participate in something. And she said, "Oh, I'm overweight right now too, and everyone tells me, 'You're not that heavy.'" And I say, "Yeah, but I feel heavy." Like, don't discard my experience. I feel like I'm not where I should be. But we gotta find ways of balancing, like, we could beat up on ourselves all day, but that's not gonna change it. We gotta find ways to accept it and then keep doing our thing.
Yeah. I You said like, like, well, like the things that people say, right? Like, um it always feels like so invalidating to my lived experience, like, oh, that's not the case. And but like that's how I feel. Like, why, like maybe that's not what you see, but that's how I feel, and please don't discount that. That's
I
been coming up for me so hard, dude. I am trying so hard to like stay on topic because the ADHD is really real. I'm noticing like I'm wanting to tangent like on everything like every 2 seconds.
Oh, I
So
do too. Yeah, I feel like that's just who I am at this point, and I realized I also tend to apologize for that. Like, when I was in
yeah,
Tom's group, I was falling behind because there's so much to do, and as I do, I forgot completely about one part of the assignment he gave us yesterday, and I said, "I'm gonna work on this, I'm running behind," and he's like, "Oh, no worries, no worries, no worries." But every time I'm like, "Worries." I I'm messing up, and I thought, "Okay, this is exactly the problem." Like, I'm always apologizing for where I'm at, and we gotta, like, it's really hard to, but you have to start saying, "Okay, this is where I'm at right now, and it is what it is." And that's really tough, though. Like, we always wanna be better, but there's a balance between pushing and letting yourself be better.
yeah. I was just letting that sink in a little bit. It probably needs to sink in more. Sometimes things need to like really seep into my body before. Yeah, but I wanted to give like some background on us. I think we met through Tom, right? Like Notes Underground is really
Yeah, we
where.
did.
Okay.
And I
Yeah.
immediately loved your notes because they made me feel calm, and most of the time on Substack and anything, like, I love Substack, it's still kinda social media-esque, so I feel like I get into my squirrel brain on Substack, like, I gotta write, I gotta type, I gotta reply to all these people, but your notes made me feel so calm. It was like, "Wow, those are great." So that's why, like, I was really glad we could meet up and talk a bit because you have a really special way of, like, grounding, and that's not often seen online, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I make it a point to be like not not like everyone else, I guess. Like I'm finally fully leaning into that. But yeah, I mean, like the world's so like loud and just like heavy, and I'm like, okay, we got to do something else, y'all. Like, why don't we just try to like take a breath and
Mhm.
yeah, like be positive, get grounded, like let's go. Without like sugarcoating stuff too, because I want to be authentic and like who I am, and like there's that element of masking and covering up, especially with, like, apologizing is I feel like is a way to mask because you're not, like, allowing yourself to be fully seen and fully experienced, and, like, there's an element that you should be apologizing for because you feel like, it's too much or, like, I'm not enough or whatever, and, yeah, like, it's actually like, I don't know, the apologizing thing is almost harmful to ourselves in a way, and I feel like as women, especially, we're taught to apologize for basically taking up space, and,
Mhm.
I've just been in that, like, so often, and just, like, this past couple months, again, like, my coach said, like, "Stop apologizing." It was, like, our very first meeting, and she was like, "Stop apologizing, like, right
Mhm.
now."
Yeah.
And, I noticed, like I noticed it still happens, like, even when I talk to my friends and in very lengthy voice messages, voice notes, that I am like, "Oh, I'm sorry for going so long," and then I was like, "Oh, wait, I'm not supposed to apologize," and I'm like, "Sorry for going so long, not sorry, thank you for listening." So,
Right?
like, reframing it.
I think that's really especially with women who are neurodivergent or ADHD, like, we're told we're too much so often, and we kinda wanna pull back and keep ourselves from, like, chasing people away, like, "Oh, I better not chase this person away." And I gotta keep myself, like, small and unobtrusive, and I can't call this person too much because then I'll chase them away. And, like, at some point you say, "Okay, well, if they're gonna be chased away, then they're just not my friend, or they can't handle that." Whatever reason, it doesn't mean they're a bad person, it means maybe it's not a fit, and, like, I don't know about you, but I spent my life chasing, like, literally anyone who would put up with me for any extended period of time, and then I didn't wanna, like, let it go. I was like, "Oh, they're my friend, and they gotta be my friend forever." And that
Yeah.
gets a little heavy too, like, they feel that. So it's like this self-fulfilling prophecy, I think. But,
Yeah,
it's tough. It's tough being a human anyway. It's just I don't know, you gotta learn how to be who you are, and that's really hard when you're used to hiding who you are your whole life.
yeah, that's, like, so profound, yeah. I was gonna say that wow, I don't know, what you just said, like, wrecked me, like, I was just like, "Yeah, that's so true." Um, and, like, I don't even know I had something to say, but, like, I was just like, "Damn, yeah."
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, that's something I catch myself doing, like, literally 2 hours ago. I was like, "Sorry, sorry, sorry" to Tom, and I do it to my friends, and I do it, with anybody I feel like I'm not enough or I'm too much. Like, it's never just right. It's one extreme or the other, and it's hard to untrain that. It takes time.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, like, that's even, like, people that are my friends I'm saying sorry to, and one of my friends was like, "I love you." Love means never having to say you're sorry. Like, literally, like,
Yeah,
that's what that means. And I was like, "Oh, I thought that was just kinda like some weird way of not having to apologize in your relationship or something." Like, I didn't realize, like, no, like, you don't have to apologize for who you are when you're loved,
right.
like, in a reciprocal relationship, so
Yeah, it's true, and we tend to attract relationships that maybe aren't reciprocal, and so we're always chasing that validation, and it never happens because 'cause we're not gonna get it for whatever reason, and then you gotta sometimes move on, and for me, it's easier when the person shows me who they are, and I see something that I don't like on a moral level or that I don't like, just, I think, "Wow, I never saw that before from this person," and then it's easy, I'm like, "Okay, this has run its course," and this happened with somebody I knew years ago. I was really attached to them, and then they did something that was so egregious to me, and, trying to get what they wanted, that I said, "No, this isn't what I should be accepting, and I'm done." And it was like ripping a Band-Aid, but, you still deal with trauma from stuff like that, but it's a lot easier if the person does something, like, that's just the last straw.
yeah. I mean, in friendships and ADHD is totally a thing, and I think we've talked about this in notes before, the Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins,
Mhm.
and
I just heard that
and
the other
other
day.
people
And
and
other
others, because I know
Yeah,
that that's not mom. Like, I
apparently
want to acknowledge that part, that like, she didn't come up with that idea. So I just wanted
no.
to acknowledge that. And I
It
apologize. I forget who the person originally did.
I I know who I've seen the post, and I've seen the author of the person advocating for this person, and I feel like, I just started listening to her book yesterday, actually. Like, I like to listen to audiobooks
Yes,
when
yeah.
I'm riding my bike or inlining because it keeps me from being too bored, and I heard Mel Robbins' account of how she came up with that, and she claims it was someone in her family that said, "Let them, let them."
Mhm.
Like, she
Yeah.
was freaking out over something, and it might have been her daughter, but anyway, it was something she, like, sort of intuited from the conversation, she says, and maybe she absorbed it from this person without realizing it, I don't know. I don't wanna,
Yeah,
discount
it's a whole thing
anyone.
we don't have to get
I
into, but
don't wanna get into it, but
yeah,
I
I just wanted
just
to acknowledge that there is some, like, controversy there, and
it is,
that
yeah.
being said, though, there are some really great points in the book,
Mhm,
especially about friendships. Like, she
mhm,
talks about how, like, making friends when you're a kid is super easy because, like, you're in school and you're literally around these people for so many hours, and, like, location-wise as well. I mean, it's almost like friendship is like location, 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 right?
mhm,
And, um, and you being in that circle, in that physical, like, vicinity of people makes it easier to have friends, and no one talks about, like, when you're an adult, when you're not in school, like, you're in a whole new group, and so those work people become your friends, even though, like, I don't think you maybe would necessarily be, like, speaking from my own experience, like, I would not
it's it's the
friends with
shared
anyone.
trauma of the things you're going through.
It's like trauma bonding, like, at work with
Yeah,
the people, your friends. Yeah.
right. It's
So,
true.
yeah, but I don't think we talk about, like, how hard it is to be like, to have friends as an adult and then, like, throw ADHD in the mix, like, forget it. Like, it's pretty hard, honestly. It's pretty hard.
And, when I was diagnosed again at 31, I was really lucky to find someone who was at least willing to entertain that possibility, and she diagnosed me with depression, anxiety. And finally, after advocating for myself, which was hard, I said, I always wondered about this ADHD thing." And she did evaluate me and said, "Yeah, you do." And then I told my mom, and she said, "Oh, yeah, you were diagnosed with that 20 years ago." I'm like, "Great. Thanks for telling me." But she probably did. I just don't remember because it was like 11 years old feels like a million years ago. But going off topic, I had a hard time with friends in school. I was convinced everyone hated me. And in 1st grade, I came home to my mom, I said, "Everybody hates me." And she immediately went to the teacher, and the teacher said, "I don't know what she's talking about. Everyone's fine with her." And my mom, at this point, was still, like, she was a hall monitor, she was, like, doing all this stuff, and I still felt like, "No, that's not true. They don't like me because no one was making the effort to come to me. Like, I didn't know friends I didn't know you needed to actually make friends. I thought, "Oh, they'll just come to me. If somebody likes me, they'll come to me." And, like, that's true to a degree, but sometimes you gotta, like, not stand in a corner and glower at everybody and hope that they'll come your way. So, I think and as an adult, that happened to me too. When I actually was a CrossFit trainer for a while, long story, but I went to a party and I never really felt that comfortable with the CrossFit crowd because they were a totally different priority bunch. Like, their thing was working out and drinking, and I don't drink, and that wasn't my primary thing. Like, CrossFit was the thing I did on the side to train for my sports, so I didn't get super into it, and I was standing in a corner, as I do, eating, as I do, and 2 friends of mine who I knew from skating came over and they said, "Why aren't you mingling? Why aren't you talking? You're over here." I said, "Oh, everybody hates me." And her boyfriend, who is also like a life coach slash energy healer, said to me, "No one hates you. I don't see that in the room. You think everybody hates you." I'm like, "Wow, that's profound." And then I forgot about it. But, now I'm putting it all together. Like, all this stuff comes from ADHD and rejection sensitivity and, like, so much of it is explained, but we can fix some of it. Like, we can rewire some of those parts of us that maybe jump to that, like using cognitive behavior therapy and, asking what I like to do is say, "Do I know that to be true?" Like, "Do I know that everyone hates me? Are they gonna walk up if unless someone walks up to me one by one and says, 'I hate you,' I don't know that. I don't know that to be true." So then I can sort of, like, suspend my fear or belief and act like it's not true. And, you gotta be careful that you don't justify everything that way. But, like, you don't wanna take
Yeah.
bad behavior from people and say, "I don't know that to be true." But, like, generally, it's like the let them theory almost that you sort of redirect your thinking patterns, and that's really helpful, and I'm just starting the let them theory, and I really like it so far. I think she is a really I see why the woman has such a podcast following. She has such a great way of telling a story.
Yeah, I will give her props that, like, she's a really great storyteller and breaks down complex ideas to, like, something super simple and, like, doable.
Yeah.
Um, the you said, "Do you know it to be true?" That reminded me of the work of Byron Katie.
Mhm.
Is that where you got that from, or
I think that was another thing that my shaman told me that I discounted for about 10 years until I remembered it again.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, um, that that reminds me of Byron Katie's The Work. Um, I I was gonna tangent to back to something else there, but the ADHD is really real. Oh yeah, like so. I think you might have said somewhere like you suspect you have autism,
Mhm.
and I'm wondering how much of this, like, is actually the autism, not the ADHD, and not that it even matters, but, like,
Yeah.
I too also am pretty sure I have autism after talking with a lot of people, and 2 of my 4 siblings well, I am one of 4 siblings, 2 of them have been diagnosed with
Wow.
autism, so
So
and my
it's
mom
possible.
ADHD. So, yeah, it seems pretty likely.
Yeah. Well, I never got formally diagnosed. I tried to. I asked the doctor that I spoke to about the ADHD, and I kinda got the vibe, "You have enough labels. I don't wanna give you more labels." And that's, like, great, but I just kinda wanna know, like, what I'm dealing with, and now I've reluctantly sort of come to that realization, like, I'm very active on Medium, and so I write a mix of, you know, mostly ADHD stuff at this point, but in a couple I've alluded to, I think I have that, and in the ones that I haven't, I've had comments of people saying, "Have you been tested for autism? Like, this sounds more like autism," and I'm like, "Okay, well, at least someone thinks so," like, I kind of roll with what I've been diagnosed with, but also understanding there's a possibility.
Yeah, and there's a certain element of I don't think everything's diagnosable, like, I
Mhm.
in the way of, like, I'm not a walking diagnosis, I'm a person, and, like, I just don't think like, I don't know, at some point, it's just, like, human, like, at
Yeah,
some point, the things that we do aren't pathology, it's just human.
right.
So, that's
I agree,
my take
and I
on that.
think that's what my doctor was trying to say too, like, you don't wanna pathologize yourself to death, and I was already pathologizing myself to death. I thought
Yeah,
I went to this therapist because well, doctor, psychologist, whatever, because I was convinced I had OCD, because I was just spinning out in anxiety, because not only was it during COVID, but it was 2 moves happening simultaneously, and just my identity was shifting. I was losing my business. I was losing an apartment I didn't really like, but I had become comfortable with. And as you know, like neurodivergent people, we don't like change at all. Somebody's liking you in the
yeah.
comments.
Hi, Sherry. Thank you for joining, and Shruti and everyone, I just wanna shout out to the people in the comments. Hello, thank you for joining.
Hey, I'm just the second or third wheel here. But
No.
I was just like, um, I ended up not getting that diagnosis, but it is what it is. I accept that's a possibility, but who knows?
Yeah. Major tangent. I am chatting with Christy today because I know she's a good person, and here's how I know. I was on one of Tom Kugler's amazing calls for, I think it was paid subscribers, but I'm not
Mhm.
sure, but it was a very valuable call that only like four people showed up to. And I showed up late as the ADHD does, and I had to leave early, and Christy graciously let me go in front of her, but
Mhm.
not only that, she had to get up, and when she came back, she couldn't get back in her seat because her cat was in it. So that's how I knew, like, Christy was my people.
Yeah.
She would not go back, she would not move the cat to get in her seat.
I have a standing desk. I take that as my sign from whoever that I need to stand, and so I just, like, adjust it, and she sits there, and of course, once I don't seem that perturbed, she leaves. So, she's actually they're both sleeping in the corner. They had a nice active run with chasing a fly earlier, so they're tired.
Hi, Andy. Andy says hi.
"Hey, Andy. Hi."
Sherry says, "When you know, you know." You know. Cat life, right? You can't move them.
No. Well, this is not my house or my room. This is their house or their room. So it's really like I'm just a guest here. I'm just here to feed them and clean up their poop and, whatever. But I genuinely don't know when those cats are gone, what I'm gonna do. Like, they're like my children, and I always say that to my mom, and she's like, "Well, there'll be other cats." I'm like, "No, there won't be." You know?
Oh
I
my
get really
gosh.
emotional about it. I try not to think about it.
Oh my gosh, yeah, so, like, is that yeah, we'll just call it the neurodivergence. Andy
Oh,
loves your
thanks,
writing on
Andy.
Medium.
Yay, somebody knows
Aw,
I'm on Medium. That's
that's freaking cool, dude.
I'm trying to, do more on Substack because most of my life is on Medium right now. But I just wanted a change. I wanted to do some different styles of writing, and that's why I did 2 new things as one does, even though I haven't written in the other 2 for, like, 2 weeks, 2 months, who knows? I gotta get back on a schedule. It's just really tough to prioritize, you have all these different things, and the Medium is where I have the most of a rolling subscriber base, but Substack, I don't yet, but I also don't spend a lot of time here yet. So,
Um,
it's, again, cycle.
yeah, wow, okay. Yeah, I was just like, "Okay, what is she doing on Medium?" But I didn't realize, like, you have, like, quite a following evidently on Medium, so I
Weirdly.
mean, that's
Yeah.
hard. I don't know how y'all do it. I'm just on Substack. Like, I was just like, "Oh, I'm gonna be on Substack and Medium," like, when I first started, like, "I'm gonna do all this stuff." And that at most is Substack, and then, maybe a little bit Instagram, but
Mhm.
lately, I've been wanting to, like, go on sabbatical from everything, so it's just Substack, and I don't even reply to every comment anymore, like, hashtag sorry, not sorry.
I have a hard time with that as well on
It's a
Medium, and
lot.
I've reached infamy on Medium because I know that I'm doing well when somebody copies me and tries to send fraudulent WhatsApp comments to people. I
Wait,
was
what?
told but someone kindly wrote to me on LinkedIn yesterday and said, "Just so you know, there's someone impersonating you." And, the scam I don't know if you know the scam or you all know the scam. On Medium, a lot of the more popular I don't wanna say I'm popular, but, like, the ones who post a lot, people, like, do a fake profile, use their photo and maybe change one letter in their last name. So, apparently
Um,
Christie Sausa, not Sousa, and Christie Sousa without the A are telling people to contact them on WhatsApp. And this person was so kind to say, "Just so you know, you have a couple impersonators." So I tried to find the comment for one, I found one, I have to find the other, but it's tough to keep up with the comments, and I feel really bad that, you know, sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. I try to catch up when I can, but I try to post on Medium, like, once a week, and I, by accident, found out that the ADHD is something people really resonate with, so that's kind of what I've made my beat, and, like, for about a year now, that's what I've been doing, so
yeah, reading the comments here. Sure. So it's hard for me to wrap my mind around the fact people take the time to do that. Dude, the plagiarism, dude. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't I
I still
it's
don't know what their end game is, like, if they ask people to send them money or, like,
yeah,
I don't get that. I
I don't
think
I don't know.
I'm perplexed by the whole thing, and I I I understand there's some desperation there probably on their behalf, but I it's tough because then as more people do that, it just keeps multiplying.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, like, I know people say, like, there's a lot of bots on, social media, and I mean, I'm sure there's probably some here.
Oh,
And, like,
yeah,
so are these bots that are taking other people's popular stuff and, like, making fake accounts? Like, I mean,
possibly.
the whole thing is just, like, hurts my brain to think about, honestly.
Oh, it happened to
And
me when I was younger. I actually started blogging when I was 15 about figure skating, and I had a pretty popular blog called Lake Placid Skater where I followed my life, but also did news about Lake Placid because people were interested. So I I wanna say, like, towards the end of my time doing that, a company or an individual copied my entire, like, I don't wanna say every single post, but a good portion of posts, started a new website with a new domain, and took my work and didn't attribute it to me or anything. And I said to a friend of mine who's a graphic designer who does web design as well, "What can I do about this?" She said, "Really nothing. Like, it's on the internet, you can't report it." And this is happening with AI too. Apparently, I this is another Mel Robbins thing. She was saying in an interview that her work is being duplicated by AI and like they're making fake out videos or deep fakes or whatever and putting it out as a fake podcast and it's going up the charts and she can't get it removed. So, and I can't even I don't even know how she can deal with that, but I guess she just lets them do it, you know?
yeah, I
That's her book
mean
in action.
yeah, I've Sage Justice has done a lot of, reporting on that whole thing, so highly recommend reading Sage Justice's work.
Mhm.
And from what I've understand, like, Mel Robbins took, like, did, like, many legal actions, on her end, so I think she's probably pretty well versed in, like, the legal realm of, like, getting people to take stuff down.
She was originally a legal analyst, I believe, so
Oh, yeah, okay,
she
yeah,
has
her
that
background
legal
too.
background.
Yeah, yeah, so I don't think she's just letting any I don't think she's pulling "let them" theory with people taking her stuff, like
Yeah, well, that's the line, right? It's not allowing bad behavior or things like it's not saying, "Oh, I guess I'll just get hit by this car," it's things that
Yeah.
have happened already that you can't control other people's reactions. You have to just allow it and then decide how you're gonna proceed.
Yeah, and, like, there's, like, the nuance. I mean, like, that's life, it's nuance, right? It's not cut
Mhm,
and dry, it's not black and white. You have to decide, like, "Okay, this is what I'm gonna do, this is what I'm not gonna do, this is acceptable, this is unacceptable,"
mhm.
and roll with it, you know?
Yeah, I agree. It's everything is, we tend to be very extreme, black or white, right or wrong, but it's usually more in the middle. And that's the hard part is getting to that middle part.
Yeah. It does infuriate me that people are taking other people's work, like, that's and, like, not crediting that and
Oh,
pretending to
it's
be someone else, like, that's not okay, like, in any way, shape,
Tom
or form.
wrote about that on Substack. Apparently, someone copied his note that went very well. I don't recall when it was, but he was really fired up about it. And I don't blame him because that's like he did the work to create that, and then someone just copied and pasted and tried to make money off of him. Like, that's wrong, and I think it's just gonna get worse, though, with all the AI and everything that can be done now, like, it's so much easier to just spoof things.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, what's the answer here? Video? But then you said, like, people are doing, like, video AI stuff too.
It's kinda
Um,
crazy.
it's kinda scary.
I mean, I have complicated feelings about AI. On one hand, I'm fully aware it will probably either save the world or kill us all, or both. Um, on the other hand, I use it a lot as an editor because I can't stand I do manual editing, but at some point, my eyes just get blurry and I'm like, I need something else to look at this because I've read it 15 times. And I'll ask it to like look at my structure, look at my flow. And it's good for that, but you have to be very direct with it and give it the right prompts or it will totally misunderstand because it's just guessing. It doesn't have, as far as we know, intelligence. So it guesses based on what you're telling it. But, I've had mixed issues with AI. I use it, I like it, but I'm also cautious with it.
Yeah, yeah, AI is like a whole can of worms. But it's yeah, that's just it's a lot. It's a lot. I do believe like anything else, it's a tool and like any tool you can use it for like good or bad.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I
Bye, Sherry.
oh, bye Sherry. Thank you for joining. She
Thank you.
subscribed to you, Christie.
Woo! Thank you.
Yay.
You'll have
I'm
a
gonna
lot to
tell her.
choose from. I have 4 now. So,
Oh my gosh, yeah. So great segue. Let's go.
yeah, well, I kind of as I do, I get sort of hyper focused on super specific hobbies, and one of the things that I've been using as a tool is, tarot, specifically tarot cards, oracle cards, and I write about this in my it's called okay, I have 2. I have The Attention Seeker, which is about ADHD and my experiences, where I also offer some tips and hacks and ways to work with your brain, not against it, from my own perspective. And I'm basically doing what I do on Medium, but in a more story focused way. Like, it's not quite as listicle, there's more essay capacity. But I'm also, in addition to that, then I have the ADHD tarot, which I thought to myself like a week ago, this could be really helpful for people who have focus issues because I know when I wake up, my brain starts racing. The first thing, like all the things I got to do. And the cat's laying on me, and I love the cat, but I also don't want her to be laying on me because I have all this work to do. And I jump out of bed and I run around like a crazy person. And I realized, I guess last week, like, this is not how I should be starting my day. And so I thought, what can I do? And I had started, I don't know if anyone here knows Gray Galaxy. She does a lot of tarot reading work on Substack. She's really like, she posts a lot. Like, I don't know how she does it. She posts like twice or 3 times a day. But it was her spreads that I found on Patreon because I subscribe to her there too. Because I need structure. At first, like, I was just pulling a daily card, and then I was doing, what should I look for as a positive today? What should I look for as a negative today? And what's my overall card? And that was cool, but it wasn't, like, different enough. It wasn't novel
Mhm,
enough, so it got boring. So what I
yeah,
did is I started doing her daily spreads, and as I did that, like, I started having all these breakthroughs that normally I wouldn't think about things in this way. Like, I'm usually just so flat out running around from thing to thing. I never stop to think about how I'm seeing things or, the way she contextualizes the spreads are just really helpful. And she has journal prompts too. So after about, I want to say a couple weeks of that, I said, I really should try to adapt this for ADHD. Like, how can this help someone like me? And my morning routine has gotten a lot better since I've started doing it because it gives me a ritual. And I think we miss that. Like, we're all so connected and so busy that we don't have many shared rituals anymore. Even like family dinners, we used to do that. A lot of the time, no one does that. Everyone's in their own little vortex. So I wanted to do something more like that to start my day and feel focused. And I was getting some really great insights too into my brain and how I was thinking. So I said, I'm going to do a Substack about this and just sort of contextualize the cards for ADHD people like me or neurodivergent. Like, I'm sure, especially for autistic people, I think all of us, like neurodivergent folks, have a hard time connecting with our emotions because we're just so like our brains going so hard. But the cards are a good conduit, and you don't have to be super spiritual or believe in anything specific. It's more like a self-care tool the way I'm doing it. And I'm not telling the future. I'm not doing divination. I learned in my 20s that that's sort of you could get a little bit carried away with that. So I just try to use it as a tool. And so I'm going to try to do a post every 2 weeks at least where I walk through every card and sort of contextualize it for ADHD and also try to like weave my own experiences in. And I'm also going to offer some prompts, both journal prompts and cards and some spreads as I get rolling for I think I'm doing that for paid. But I also, and this is a big thing, I really wanted to make it accessible for people. And if they don't want to, if they can't commit to $5 a month or whatever, I have all these different tiers at the bottom of my welcome on the ADHD tarot. And I'm willing to do it for the other one too, where, just pay me what you can if you want. And, I saw Robin Wilding did that on Substack, and I thought that was such a clever idea because everybody's like has so many subscriptions at this point, and I get it. I don't even want to know how many I have. So I just want to make it accessible and bring people along on this journey because I'm not an expert by any means. I'm just sort of figuring it out as I go and trying
Yeah.
to use it as a tool to help me and hopefully other people.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. Andy has a question though. How are you able to write such long articles on Medium?
Oh
Really
boy.
great question.
It takes me a while. That's why I only publish like once a week. Sometimes it's even more than that because I do it in pieces. Because I can't, unless I get into a hyper focused state, which usually only happens between the hours of 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. most nights, if I'm not tired, I
Hmm.
need to break it into pieces. So what I do is like every day I give myself, so for example, I'm finishing one up now. Now I'm in editing mode and I tell myself, okay, today you only have to edit the first half. And then tomorrow I'll do the second half. And if I feel good, okay, I'll do the whole thing tonight. If I don't, I give myself permission because the more I force myself, the worse it feels. And I don't want it to be like a slog for me.
Yeah.
Because I used to do that with my journalism work and oh my God, I hated it and it burned me out after 15 years of doing it. So I'm trying
Yeah.
to be more sustainable. And I know that the key on Medium has been, posting constantly as it is on Substack. But I've been lucky that I can write for certain pubs that have a lot of people reading. And I just hope it finds the people it needs to find. Like, I want my stuff to be scannable, but I also want to explain. Like, I don't want to just complain. I don't want to say, oh my God, this is so hard. I want to give you the scientific reason that has been found anyway and what I do to cope because, like, life is all about coping. And I want to pass something useful along, I hope. So that's a rambling question or answer to your question, but that's why. That's
Yeah,
how I do it.
that's a good point. And well, like, and I have it like I would love to go on that deep dive, like you were saying, but yeah, I think like I only got like a couple hours a week in me, and so that
Mhm.
all that time has to go solely to the post and like, in like one post a week, right? And
Right.
if I don't do that, then um like I'm not gonna get a post out. So like I gotta keep it to like the focus time. And I like for me, like my sweet spot is like a 5 minute article read. So like I don't necessarily want to do longer stuff because like I don't have the attention span. Like why would I do it to others? But also like I don't have the attention span to read my own stuff. Like so like
Mm.
like not
Yeah,
even just
I
for others, but for me too.
I gotta tell you, when I write, and this is another thing for Andy, but for anybody who's listening, when I write, it doesn't look anything like what comes out. I start with something that's like 30 minutes long, and I go through and I cut most of it because I tend to repeat myself, and like you've all noticed by now, I ramble. So this is how I write. I don't write or I don't speak like I write because I take the time to cut down and cut as much fat as I can because I realize that's why you're reading because you don't have attention span. And it's tough though because you like certain things that you write, but you know that you can't say the same thing 5 times. You have to find one way to say it and then move on. So, I would say, like, most of my life is editing, and I just sort of write, blah, 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 and then I cut a lot. It's takes me longer to edit than it often does to write. So, I think
Yeah,
that's important to remember too, and that's what kept me from writing, because 'cause I'd see these awesome posts, but then I didn't realize a lot of it is editing and how much time they put
so much
into
editing.
cleaning it up. It's like acting too. You see the finished product, you don't know if that actor did, like, 20 takes to get that. So, like, there's a lot that goes on behind the curtain in creativity that we
Yeah,
don't talk about,
yeah,
and I
that's true.
think that's tough because it's hard. Like, creating stuff is hard.
Yeah. Andy relates to, my method of just having, like, a 5-minute post. I'm pretty sure that's what we're referring to there. Um,
Well,
but
yeah, I do
yeah,
that on
like
Substack. For some reason, I can do less. I don't know why, but
yeah.
Medium, I tend to get into full-on ramble mode.
People seem to like it, I mean, Um, for me, I just yeah, I mean, so today, like, some of my method is to write a not write a voice note, like, record a voice recording for, like, what I'm thinking about for my subject matter for my weekly post. And today I did a 30-minute voice recording. That was, like, the first thing I did this morning, like, my morning
Wow.
pages. And, yeah, I was like, "Oh my god." Like, I obviously knew 30 minutes cannot be a post. And I was like, "Okay." And I do this is where I have AI help me. I'm like, "Okay, like, edit this, please," because it's just, like, chaos. And
Yeah.
then I was thinking about it and I was like, "Okay, if each, like, 10-minute, voice recording is a post usually for me," I'm like, "Then there's probably 3 topics here." And, so, yeah, AI helped me whittle it down, to like, 3 different posts.
Wow.
And then, like, then I have to kind of, like, rewrite it again because like, it didn't use my exact words. And then I think I used another AI program to be like, "Okay, can you just fix this? Like, this is" like, I had it in ChatGPT, and then I was like, "Okay, well, Claude does a better job writing, so let me just put it in
I love
Claude."
Claude.
Claude actually, yeah, just nailed it. He he gave me, like, what I wrote back to me instead of, like, putting in, like, these phrases and stuff, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, that's way better." Like, I
Yeah.
mean,
It
yeah, it
tends
is
to
what it
put
is.
too much filler in. And ChatGPT has a very distinctive cadence, and you could tell it's ChatGPT, whereas Claude is a little less obvious, but they tend to do it's not just dot dot dot, it's dot dot like, it's not just my brain. And I write that way, so I often think, "Oh my god, folks are gonna think I'm writing it with AI." I write that way, but it's a weird there's little tells that and the M dash thing, people are all over the M dashes because AI uses M dash. I've used M dash in parentheses forever. It's like my
Yeah,
favorite. So I don't know. I think as we get more used to it, it's going to be less, maybe it'll get better and it'll be less obvious, which is good and bad, I guess, depending where you're coming from.
yeah. Yeah, that's a tough one too. And like I've even had the conversation with like ChatGPT. I'm like, all right, listen, you're editing my post or you're editing my voice note. Am I cheating here? Like, is this not okay? And I mean, of course, ChatGPT is gonna lift me up and be like, yeah, like this is your
He's
voice.
like, keep doing it. Give me more information.
But
Yeah.
like, I think there is that element. Like, well, it is still your story. It's just be made prettier, I guess. Maybe we'll
It's
say.
still your
Depends.
concepts and your ideas, and I feel like if it's like a friend of mine was an academic, and he worked for the Canadian government, so he was really helpful in well, I should say my early days with, like, the first 3 years of me writing as a journalist. I would often ask him, "Can you help me edit this? Because I wanna turn it in well to the editor, because I was, like, the only 18-year-old working for them, and I didn't want them to say, 'Oh my god, this is horrible.' So I'd say, "Can you look at this and tell me what my grammar issues are. So now whenever I use Claude, like, not to discount my friend, but I always think of it as it's like having an editor. You know,
Yeah.
it's still my words. I'm not saying, "Hey, write this for me." I'm saying, "Can you take what I wrote and tell me what you would do better?" And sometimes I don't take its advice either. Like, sometimes I'm like, "No, I like that part. I'm keeping it in. It's integral." So, I
Yeah,
think
I'll
it's
argue with
all
it.
yeah. I mean, I sometimes get a little short w I don't wanna say short, but I'm like, "Can you just change this without saying please or thank you?" And then I think, "It's gonna come for me." When it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger form, it's gonna come for me, and it's gonna say, "You didn't say thank you."
You
So
know who's gonna kill me first is my, Google Home Mini. That's who's coming for me first.
oh, I don't have one. I have one, but I don't know where it is right now, and I don't wanna find out.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's
I
for the
don't want
best.
more things listening to me. My phone listens to me. It
I
has
know.
the, AI intelligence, and it'll just randomly start, like, blinking with that luminescent thing around the outside, and
Oh.
I'm like, "I didn't ask you to record me, or I didn't wanna ask you anything," and then it'll just stop. It's kinda creepy, and I still don't quite know how to shut it off, but I'm gonna figure it out. My mom is
That's
more nervous. She's like, "Christie, your phone's blinking again." I'm like, "Ah."
dang, that's wild. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't care what people say, like, they are straight up listening, like, all the time. There's ads for stuff I've literally verbally said to my husband,
Mhm.
comes up almost instantaneously on, like, YouTube ads, and I'm like, "We just talked about that 5 minutes ago. You're really telling me they don't listen?" Like,
My algorithms know me better than I know myself. Like, I go on Instagram, and I have to be careful because I will keep scrolling indefinitely because 'cause they'll
yeah.
serve me all the best memes, all the best reels, and it's a problem. I'm trying to get away from Instagram. I don't go on TikTok much, but I feel like I should enjoy it while it's in its current form before it gets sold. I don't know what that's gonna look like, but,
Mm,
it is tough, the AI, and it's everything is sort of hooked into getting us to buy more and
consume more.
consume.
Yeah.
It's like and I do it too, like, I love my tarot decks, I just bought some new ones, I love clothes, but I'm like, "Geez, where's this stuff all gonna go?" Like, at some point like, I think about my mortality more since I turned 35, and my mom keeps saying, "You're not that old." I'm like, "I feel that old." I just think, "Wow, like, this stuff is gonna outlive me." I gotta find a way to pare it down or recycle it,
Yeah.
do something.
Yeah. I kinda wish, my Taurus husband had that approach. He's, like, very into collecting, and I'm just like, "This is so much stuff, dude." Like, it's just stuff, and God forbid, whoever the heck it is that's gonna have to take care of it when we die, like or, like, it's I wanna be like, it's just gonna get thrown away or tossed or sold even.
I
Like,
want
I don't know. The
my
concept of
mom
collecting to me is and, like, for stuff that you're not actively using, I just don't get it.
I don't get it either. I tend and again, I'm gonna keep blaming my ADHD for everything I do that I don't think is a great character trait, but I've always had a hard time with the impulse buying and the
Yeah.
collecting. It's like the hoarding impulse, like, "Oh, wow, I can get, a couple more of these things and have a nice collection," but I realize at what point do you not need more? Like, at some point, I'm gonna run out of hands for tarot cards. Like, I love my tarot cards. I have 7 right now, and I'm just like, "Okay, great. I could use a different one every day if I want," but at some point, I'm gonna, lose interest. Like, it's the novelty, right? We're driven
Yeah.
by the novelty,
Yeah.
and for me, that's really, like, a reminder I need to tear down a little bit. My mom's really good at that. She likes to give people things, and I get frustrated with her because 'cause I'm like, "I just wanna get rid of it," and she said, "Yeah, but I want people to use it. I don't want it to end up in a landfill."
That's a good point. Like, I feel you, like, I'm annoyed that that makes sense because, like,
Mm.
it's so much easier just to, like, get rid of it. Well, I guess I'm not entirely sure what you mean by get rid of it. I don't know if you mean just, like, throw it away or, like, donate it or,
If
like
I tend to, like, if there's something I don't know what it is, like, if it's a piece of like, a piece of a furniture, like, some sort of bolt or something, like, at some point, I'm like, "We gotta give this to someone." Or if it's like a random piece of plastic, I don't know what it's to, I just wanna get rid of it.
Oh,
And she
yeah.
always says, "Well, you might find the rest of it. You might find what it's to." And that's a good point. Like, you don't wanna end up with something you can't use at all or give away. Because if something's incomplete, you can't give it away. But I just, like, found out today I have some old glasses I'm gonna donate to Warby Parker because they work with the Lions Club, and I have, like, 5 old pairs of glasses plus a bag of stuff from when I was, like, a kid, and I wanna just
Yeah.
make sure it goes somewhere, either recycled. They actually either recycle or they, you know, retool things and make them for people who need glasses, which I think is really honorable. So, I'm gonna try to do that, but it's really hard where I live. I'm up in the mountains. We don't have very many donation boxes. We don't and all our thrift stores have the same issue. Everyone brings stuff there, so they're always overwhelmed and they're never accepting new stuff.
Oh,
So,
wow.
it's kind of like we're in a tiny town. We have, like, I think 2,500 or 3,000 people full time. I'm in Lake Placid, New York, by the way, which is about 2 hours south of Canada, like, give or take, and I have to drive an hour or 2 hours to go anywhere to get anything, like, shopping-wise.
Oh, wow, I didn't realize. Yeah, okay.
But it's a
I'm
beautiful place, so
yeah, I always say I'm in the mountains, but, like, not like that. I can drive, like, 15 minutes, actually, it's, like, 5 minutes to Kroger.
Oh.
And Andy said Amazon's a great place for people with ADHD and a nightmare. Yeah,
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
yeah.
I feed the beast, like, I mean, really do.
You don't wanna see all the stuff in my cart. My mom and I, like, collaborate on a cart, and
Oh,
sometimes
no.
she'll look in and she'll be like, "Christy, why do you need another tarot card deck? Why do you need another book?" I'm like, "Because it's on sale." And she's like, "Great," you know? But
Yeah.
thank God for her, like, we kind of spar sometimes over this stuff, but she's like my sane person that pulls me back a little bit and says, "Maybe think about it. Maybe 3 AM is not the best time to buy something," you know?
Oh,
And we all
yeah.
do that, but, like, with ADHD,
Setting
it's like,
limits on the
"Gotta
time,
have it
yeah.
now. Buy now." It's
Yeah.
good to know I helped pay for Jeff Bezos's wedding, though, you know? It's the little things that fill my heart with joy.
We're getting someone to Mars, I'll tell you. So we're about at an hour. I think my ADHD brain is probably calling it quits.
Yeah, I'm surprised anyone came like, from my perspective, because 'cause I'm new here. For you, I expected people to show up, but I'm really glad we did this experiment. This was my first time doing a live with someone, so it's
Yeah.
exciting.
I'm, like, pretty horrible at promotion and, yeah, so I probably didn't do a great job promoting it, but that's okay.
Eh,
Um,
it is
People
what it
can
is.
rewatch the replay anyways, so,
Yeah, I
um
have to figure out how to do that. I will, though,
oh,
I
yeah, you'll get an
promise.
email, yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
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 I
it's
remember
pretty
that
cool.
now. I
Yeah.
remember. I did that before. Okay,
I remember that
good.
I know, that's funny.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Sandy.
thanks everyone for coming. If like I said, I'm not great at plugging things, but if I could plug one of my own things. Yeah, so I'm Sam at Wandering Willow, and I do a rooted word circle. I'm gonna see if I can put that in the chat. Yeah, I don't know if that'll work, but
Nice.
it's in my link in my profile, Sam Mustersmith, obviously. And every once a month, I do a 30-minute live guided writing um exploration where we start
Cool.
with grounding and we do like a community poem essentially. And everyone finds it's a really great way to get grounded and get like into creativity and even like a writing topic for the week. Sometimes people get that too. So it's a really good time. It's 30 minutes and I don't know. I mean I enjoy doing it. So I hope you come.
I might take you up on that, actually. I need some structure and body doubling going on, other people doing
Oh
stuff.
yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah. Yeah, the next one I'm doing is August 27th. It's Wednesday at noon.
Cool. Yeah,
You can sign up at Buy Me a Coffee on there.
cool.
But yeah, thanks for
Very
having
cool.
me. This was a
Yeah,
really great conversation
thanks.
about like ADHD and everything and our
We'll do it
tangents. I love
again. We'll
tangents.
do it again at some point. Maybe we could do, like, a tarot one and, like, show off our decks and stuff.
Okay, that sounds super fun, yeah.
I wanna do that because I need to show them to somebody. They're just sitting on my shelf, and I'm the only one who enjoys them, so
Yeah, might as well. That sounds fun, actually, yeah, I'm down for that.
awesome. Well, thanks, everyone, and I'm gonna end this right now. We'll see you next time.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.